Hello everyone. Today I have a review of Fangirl by Rainbow Rowell. So Fangirl is a story that focuses on Cass, and she is a freshman going into college, I think at the University of Nebraska, some school in Nebraska. And she has a twin sister whose name is Ren, and her sister are like super close, and then kind of when they go to college they sort of start to drift apart. Her family is really small. Her mother leaves her family at the beginning of the book, or I guess before the book has started, really. So it's just her and it's her sister and her dad, so her family's pretty small. And then kind of one of her other interesting things is that she writes fanfiction for the Simon Snow novels, which is essentially a Harry Potter ripoff. I pretty much was in love with Fangirl from the first page that I read, predominantly because I really related to Cass a lot. I was Cass when I was in college. I was really anxious all the time about it. I was nervous about leaving my own family, which is also fairly small. Just the change and trying to meet new people is not something I really wanted to do either, and that's sort of what Cass was like too. She didn't want to meet new people, she didn't want to grow. Not that she didn't want to grow, but she just didn't want things to change from what they were. Basically, Cass is a character who is very easy to relate to, and I think that's really great, and that's something I really liked about Cass, at least for me. The other thing too is I feel like Rainbow Rowell does a really great job of representing the fandom community, which oftentimes can sort of, in a lot of novels and a lot of other sorts of mediums, can come off as being really weird and like creepy, and people who write fan fiction or people who write slash fiction or people who kind of participate in any of that kind of stuff are really weird, and she definitely doesn't approach it that way. She definitely approaches it as if she was sort of like a member of the community herself, and it's something she seems to have admired, and she even says in the acknowledgments that she read a lot of fan fiction before writing this book. Throughout the novel, aside from just getting the regular story, you also get snippets of fan fictions that Cass and her sister have written kind of over the course of their involvement in the Simon Snow fandom, and they really feel like real fan fictions that you can almost read them and very easily replace, the two characters Simon and Baz with someone like Harry and Draco or something like that. They definitely felt different from the rest of the writing, which I think was important and I think was good. And they also felt, I wouldn't say they felt more amateurish, but they definitely had that like fanfic quality. If you've ever read fanfic and you read those sections of the books, you'll like know what I'm talking about. There's the commas and the spacing and all that kind of stuff. I also think that she did a good job representing college life in the various ways that you can choose to participate in it. You can choose to participate in it, the way Cass kind of does, where she doesn't really go out much and she makes small groups of friends and things, or you can just kind of do it like how her sister does, where she like goes out and she parties and she gets drunk and those kinds of things. And I don't feel like Rainbow Rowell was really passing judgment on one way of the college being better than the other. She seemed pretty positive about both sorts of experiences. I mean, they both have their negatives and their downsides, and I think she does a good job of representing what both of those kinds of are for the different types of things, And then finally, I really feel like the characters were they felt very real people. Like I would meet them in class and I would do all these kinds of things, and which is something else that is rare, I feel like, in contemporary novels sometimes, is you definitely feel like the characters are a little too much, or they make friends too easily, or the people stick by them for so long and you're like, but why? This person is really, no one in real life would stick by someone this whiny. So that was good. And I also felt like the romance that kind of occurs throughout the book it felt really genuine, and it took time for it to happen, and it wasn't insta-love, which I hate in books, as you probably know by now. I talk about it almost every time I read a YA book. This one is really good in the sense that the romance really builds, and it takes time, there's mistakes, and people are inconsistent about things, and I just really like that part of it. The only thing I didn't like about Fangirl was that it was too short. I think it's like, how many pages is this book? This book is almost 500 pages. It's like 434 pages, something like that. And it was too short for me. I wanted it to be longer. I just want more of them. I want to read their second year, and their third year, and their fourth year, and maybe they graduate, and maybe they get one book about their life in the future, or like a little epilogue. I just want more. And there isn't, and it's really depressing. But yes, so I gave Fangirl by Rainbow Rowell 5 out of 5 stars on Goodreads. I would have given it more stars had that been an option. I could pull a Katie Tastic and just give it like 10 billion stars. So I'm going to do that. 10 billion stars. This book is great. You should read it 100%. Especially if you are interested in a part of any fandoms, be it for Harry Potter or books or movies or whatever. I think you'll definitely find really good enjoyment out of this. So yes, thank you guys so much for watching this video. I'll see you next time. Bye.